Okay, whenever you're
That's
ready.
all right. What's up, guys? It's your boy James here, and I'm joined today by my main man, Foe.
What's up?
What? That is, I've never said that. What's up? Cut. We'll edit all of it in post.
What's going on, peeps? It's your boy Foe, and I'm coming at you with a Christmas special. Me and James Hall, we linked up. We're talking about Time Extended 3, so that's coming right now. But before we get into that, I'm talking about a contest that I'm running on my channel. I want to get to 1,000 subs. And it's actually going to be two contests in the form of one. So we're going to do, when I hit 1,000 subs, all of my subscribers are going to get put into a pool. I'm going to jump on YouTube and we're going to pull out a random winner. And that person is going to win two prizes. First things first, they're going to win a model painted by me. Tell me what game you're playing, and I'm going to try and get you a miniature for that game. I'm going to paint it, and I'm going to send it to you. And you're going to get to have a full render original in whatever game you're playing. If you're playing GasLands, I'm going to send you a car. If you're playing Shadespire, I'm going to paint you up a mini for that. If you're playing Frostgrave, whatever it is you're playing, I'm going to try and get you a mini for it. And I'm going to paint it, and I'm going to ship it to you. So that's prize number one. The second prize is I've been really digging GasLands lately, and I've been having a blast playing that. So I'm going to send out a rulebook, templates, dice, and a couple of cars, and that's going to be the beginner package. Now, don't get me wrong. If you don't have any of these things, please keep it, play with it, and have a great time. That's what it's there for. But if you know somebody that's kind of on the fence about playing GasLands, give it to them. Give them the rulebook, the templates, the dice, get them into the game. So that's at 1,000 subs. If I reach 1,000 subs, you're going to get the painted miniature, and you're going to get the GasLands prize pack. Now, if I hit 2,000 subs, we're going to have a similar contest. I'm going to put all my subs into a pool, jump on Facebook Live, and I'm going to draw one lucky winner to win a faction painted by me. So if you're playing Shadespire, I'll paint up a little warband for you. If you're playing GasLands, I'll paint up 3 to 4 cars, and you have a little warband ready to rock. If you're playing Frostgrave, I'll paint up a little warband. You know, anything from like 3 to 5 miniatures. So that's if I hit 2,000 subs. You're going to get a warband painted for the game of your choice, and it's going to be full render certified, baby. And I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Get gaming, fellas. It's the time of the season. Roll some dice, flip some cards. Whatever it is you do, get to it. All right, talk to you guys later. Before we get into Time Extended 3, I just want to jump on here and give a little quick apology. I had a little bit of a technological issue with the sound. After the recording was all said and done, I managed to figure out what it was and I fixed it. So it should be happening again next time. But without further ado, Time Extended 3.
What's up, guys? It's your boy James here, and I'm joined today by my main man, Foe.
Hello, Wastelanders.
That's good. That's good. I like that. And what are we looking at today, Foe Render?
Today we are looking at the Truckasaurus Awakens Time Extended 3 Junk in Tow.
Yeah, the 3rd edition of Time Extended. It's finally here. It's finally arrived.
I've been waiting for this because ever since he, gave us heavy trucks,
yeah,
I've been waiting for it. Because we've had, the stats for heavy trucks for a while. He released it a while back. So I just been fiending. I was like, we got heavy trucks. What other vehicles is he going to put into this thing? And I'm happy to say he did pack it with a bunch of vehicles.
Oh, absolutely. I didn't expect it at all. I was expecting just like the heavy truck to be for the Truckasaurus, and then that was it, maybe like an update to 1 or 2 of the vehicles. But no, there's a whole bunch here to look at, and that's great. It's more content for the game that we all love, and it's vehicles that tie in to like some of the sponsors from the base game, which I think is just fantastic. But there's new scenarios, there's a new sponsor. this edition, which is all free, as always, you can go on the GasLands website, you can go on the Facebook page. It's all there. It's ready for you to download and play. But it's just rammed with content, which is great.
As a matter of fact, if you're listening to this right now, and for some reason you're like, oh man, I love GasLands, and you've never even downloaded the time extendeds, what is wrong with you? Get your life together, get your priorities straight, and go and get these free expansions. They're totally free, and they add so much to the game. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, since Time Extended 1, which, as we all know, I'm on the front cover of, the very first ever pictured war rig is mine. I have that honor. That honor is mine. And that's it. I've peaked now, so it's all downhill from here. Ever since the first issue, Mike and his guys, they've just been churning out new content for this game, new scenarios, new sponsors, new perks, new stuff that really help breathe life into, this community. And I think that's great. And like some of these vehicle types that we've been given today, this stuff is great. I love some of the stuff, but I think you've, like, since day one, you've been looking at this foe, and there are some problems here that I think you should point out.
Like, as we're coming down the list, we're going to hit it as we go. You got the drag racer, which is a lightweight vehicle, 4 hull points, full handling, max gear 6, 2 build slots, 1 crew, jet engine. And it's 5 points.
Yeah.
So you're basically getting like a free nitro boost almost for 5 points.
Yeah, it's counted as having infinite ammo, so you can do that all the time. This is the ability of a bike to go full throttle, but in I say car, but it's almost like a stripped down performance. Well, it's a dragster. But the fact that regardless of what happens to it in the course of a game, it will explode. I love that. But when you look at drag races in real life, oh my goodness, when they have an accident, oh, it's not fun.
And let me tell you something. I mean, 4 hull points, chances are this thing's exploding.
Oh yeah. Like, this is...
You get a heavy machine gun that just happens to just pepper it the wrong way, this thing is done.
Get 2 6s and it doesn't evade, it's leaving a crater. A guaranteed explosion. I love it.
You know
I
what's
absolutely
crazy?
love it.
Having a drag racer just coming off the starting line is going to wreak havoc. Because if it's involved in a collision, you know how sometimes right in the very beginning there's that someone's like, I'm just going to turn sideways and just cause a crazy collision right out.
Cause as much damage as I can first round of the race. Yeah.
Exactly. This drag racer might get involved. It might explode just right there and just wreak havoc on bikes, other drag racers.
And this is something that I really like about these new vehicle types. I feel that they tie into the sponsors from the base game of GasLands. With the drag racer especially, we've talked before in a previous video where we went through the sponsors. Idris, the demon, they hopped up on nitro fuel, speed addict. He's all about going fast and drag racing. Finally, there's a vehicle that I think really fits his style of gameplay.
Exactly. They finally got there. Like that. Like they didn't, in my opinion, they didn't have their, token vehicle. Like this is their token vehicle. Yeah. This is exactly what they needed, and it's totally Idris. I'm loving that.
I mean, okay, sure. The next one down the list, we've got a bike with sidecar. I think this was something that was requested in the community because a lot of people who make bikers for their GasLands teams, they tend to have like a little guy on the side of it with a machine gun or flamethrower or something like that.
But it basically just counts as a buggy, right?
Well, yeah, effectively. I mean, it's got full throttle and pivot, which is like a bike, but it doesn't have the roll cage that a buggy has. So it's not going to be avoiding any hazard tokens from whiting out or anything like that. But it's there if you want it. But this is something that we've both picked up on, but you especially. The points cost for it.
It's 8 points.
For a bike
8
with
points
sidecar.
Bike with sidecar. Who in their right mind is going to pay more than a buggy for a buggy without a roll cage?
Yeah. A buggy that I'm pretty sure stat for stat, it's pretty much identical. I could be wrong.
I
Don't
think it is
quote
the
me on
same.
that.
4 whole points, 5 hand. Yeah, I think it's the same.
Yeah, but it's
actually no. A bike. Well, no, a buggy has 5 handling, I believe.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, I'm at say 84.
What was that?
That was my son. He came passing by. He was
That's
talking
all right.
to his friends on this little thing you called cell phones.
Oh, I know what you mean.
When I was his age, I had a beeper, I had a pager.
Oh man, that's pretty retro right there.
And we had to text like codes back and forth.
What can I say? It's the passing times.
And then like it was really funny if you typed in 8008 because like that spelled boob.
Like playing with calculators when you were a kid.
It was playing with a calculator, and that's what it basically was, exactly.
Oh,
because it was all numbers. But anyway, so the next thing on the list, you got the ice cream truck.
The ice cream truck. We finally have the perfect. It's the perfect vehicle for Sweet Tooth. You know,
exactly.
I built one like 2 years ago, and up until now, I've had to use vans and pickup trucks and all these other vehicle types to represent it, and they've been okay. But there's never been a specific. This is an ice cream truck.
I don't know how ice cream trucks are on your side of the world. Okay. I don't know. Do they go around with like the weirdest, creepiest jingle playing?
I swear they all have the same jingle. It's just one that's just rented out to like all the Mr. Whippies here in the UK.
It's like ding 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 ding. Like it's like a creepy like a Jack in the Box.
Yeah,
almost.
And they'll drive around the street. They'll stop for like 2 seconds, which I remember being a kid. You'd have just enough time to like run to your parents and be like, "Oh, can I like have some money to go buy some ice cream?" And by the time you got out the front door to go and buy one, they'd just be gone. And it's like you've got to wait. You've got to
hope somebody was outside getting something.
Oh man!
I remember we had two trucks. We had the Mr. Softy, which was like your regular soft ice cream, and that had that weird tune always playing, like the Sweet Tooth type ice cream truck. But then we also had the Good Humor truck, and Good Humor had like a bell.
Right. Okay.
And Good Humor was like ices and like wrestling bar. They had all those like strawberry shortcake bars and the eclairs and all that stuff.
Yeah. Well, some of those, I'll say right now, some of those we don't have in the UK. It's always one of those things. You look at like American YouTube channels and all the like getting stuff from an ice cream truck, and it's like, man, some of that looks really good. I'd love to see like peanut butter ice creams over here. Like, that looks great. But we have your more classic kind of like flakes, your typical like Magnum brand ice cream.
But for us, gone are the days like the ice cream truck guy doesn't wear like a white suit with the hat.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, it's not like that.
No, it's just some like snotty teenager that doesn't want to be there.
Some underpaid worker. And he's
or like they're like fathers driving the truck, and he's like forced to work for free.
Like, well, I've got nothing better to do today, and it's a job, so yes. Well, I'll say this for certain. The ice cream trucks over here, they don't cost 5 points.
5 points for a 10 whole point vehicle, people. I'm going to say that again. 10 whole points.
This is cheaper than a car.
When me and
I'm
you
pretty sure.
were thinking, we were talking about it, me and you, and we were like, the points for the bike with sidecar and the ice cream truck must have got mixed up when they were typing this out.
It's gotta be. Like, the fact that for 5 points you can get a middleweight vehicle with 10 hull points, 2 crew on there. Yeah, it's got, a perk which is interesting. It's an interesting ability that ice cream trucks have, but we'll get to that. But the fact you could have 10 of these on the field with a 50 can race, which is pretty much the start, pretty insane. I mean, you could do that with bikes, but you know that the bikes are going to die. You know they're not going to see the end of the race, and that's fine. You only need like one of them to win. But
Well, you
ice
had
cream,
people saying on Facebook, they were like, well, it has a weakness that, when people smash it, they don't get the hazard token.
yeah,
Okay. It's 10 whole points for 5 points.
yeah. That you know how survivable vehicles can be in a race, like because your smaller vehicles, your buggies, and your performance cars to a degree, they can die very quickly. But your larger vehicles, your vehicles that actually have hull points past 8, they stick around. They don't tend to just go out in like one round of being smashed about. They tend to, really stick around on the field. So you could
For sure.
well, you've said like you could get 8 of them and then give them all like a crazy perk or like a weapon upgrade or like the possibilities
Imagine
of
8 of them with heavy machine guns.
flooding the field with ice cream trucks. It's just mad, but I don't know, maybe that's why they did it, just to see what people would do. I don't know. It's but I love it. I mean, the ability here, it's fantastic. This is exactly what trucks are about with infuriating jingle. The idea that as vehicles smash into them, they're like ringing bells and like things are going flying, and it starts up that strange music, which in the wasteland would just be more alien. Like it's been so long since they've heard something like that. And,
Okay.
yeah,
They're a middleweight vehicle, right?
yeah.
So, let's see. Imagine like 7 of these things, all with harpoons.
Oh dear. Oh man. Oh, what a mess. Like it can't be that expensive to like put rockets on them or something like a one-shot weapon or.
Oh no! Or you do 9 of them with a BFG.
Oh god, it's just like you see the ice cream trucks and they've got that great big like model ice cream cone on top. Like it just shoots a big glob of ice cream at someone, just annihilates a car like they're just buried inside.
That's hilarious, man.
Oh. Yeah, they need to go back over this and maybe just fix that, but maybe it's intended. I don't know. We'll have to find out.
We will later find out. But, the next vehicle we have on here is another vehicle that I know everybody was waiting for, is the Jeep. I know a lot of people wanted Jeeps badly.
Absolutely. And it's such a Rutherford vehicle to field as well. Straight up, it's military tech. What more do you want? I think it's got a higher max gear than the. Hang on a second. This is just break the immersion for a minute. I'm just going to go find my copy of the rule book. 2 seconds.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So, looking at Jeeps. Comparing it to things from the book.
Like a car? Is that what you wanted?
Compare it to a car. Basically, from what I can see, it's got an extra build slot.
Has an extra build spot, and I think an extra 2 hull points.
No, because a car is 10.
Oh, a car is also 10.
Now, I remember thousands of years ago, I'm sure there was an upgrade you could take that would give you an extra build slot. But I don't know if that was from the beta test, because I can't see it in the main rulebook.
So, a Jeep... So, it's basically just a car with an extra build slot for an extra 2 points.
Yeah. And on top of that, it's more thematic if the model you're using is actually a Jeep, which a lot of people do actually use. They use Jeeps, they use modern ones, they use classic ones, they'll use like Land Rovers, and they'll like military ones from
Well, think
Second
about it.
World.
A Jeep is usually like, usually has like a 50 cal mounted on top. So there you go. That's like the extra slot.
Yeah. I don't know. It's strange because it's so similar to the car anyway. But why the extra points just for that extra build slot? But
I don't know if it's worth the extra points for the extra build slot. In my opinion, I don't know if I would be. I mean, I might take a Jeep if I'm doing like a Rutherford, sponsor. I'm gonna have to take a Jeep. So I probably, now that we have a Jeep, I will use it.
yeah,
But because I like to, I like to like capture the fluff. Like I won't like take it just because it's like more points. But yeah, I mean, but for the people that do kind of want to squeeze every point out of their vehicles, I don't know if it's worth the extra 3 points.
it's a hard trade-off.
I don't know. I would pay the extra 3 points for an extra build slot because usually on a car, I don't put more than 2 weapons on a car anyway.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I mean, you've got that third extra build slot, and yeah, there are weapons that require 2 or even 3 build slots. I mean, you could put a 125mm cannon on there. That'd put a dent in someone's day. So it's certainly worth it for that reason. Because normally that's restricted to pickup trucks, vans, tractors, buses, your coaches, the Warrig, of course. So your bigger vehicles are limited to being able to take the big gun. But
yeah, that might be cool. Like a more lightweight vehicle for a bigger gun. Sure, I could see that.
Considering the 125mm cannon, it's the same cost as a minigun at 6 points, but it does double the damage. You've only got 3 ammo, but it does double the damage of 8d6.
Rutherford has 4 ammo.
Oh, he does, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Ah, okay. I'm beginning to see that now.
Yeah, I'm beginning to see Rutherford, going all in on some Jeeps for sure.
Yeah, you put some heavier weapons on there that take up the build slots and have the ammo, and you take full advantage of that. And yeah, that does make a lot of sense. And then you're not having to pour points into like a bus to carry it,
or a truck that has such a low max gear.
And so low handling. It's handling too.
And like a max gear of what? A truck is max gear 4?
Max gear 4.
Yeah, 4.
And a bus.
That's kind of rough, man. That's half of the turn. That truck's not doing anything.
Yeah, and a bus is even worse because their max gear is 3. Oh, so yeah. No, I think the more you look at it, this is the magic of GasLands. The more you look at it, the more you figure things out and you see.
At first, I was like, I don't think it's worth the extra 3 points. But now that extra slot opens up, the more heavier weapons that take up more slots. Now I'm starting to say, yeah, maybe I would pay the extra points because it's all about that max gear, man. Like, the gear is so important in this game, and just being able to take that up to max gear of 5 is way better than just 4. That one extra turn is a huge difference.
And that's the thing, like all of a sudden, take advantage of the perks that are available. You could put a flamethrower on there, or rockets on there, or a mortar, or anything, and then pair that with another weapon, like even a minigun. If you've got the cans of gas to spare, then absolutely slap one of those on there, and you could be putting out 4d6 from that, as well as 6d6 from a rocket, or 6d6 from a flamethrower, or all of a sudden the amount of damage that it could put out is just increased because it has that extra capacity. So yeah, I don't know, it's like a nice surprise when you start looking at these things. But moving on to, I think it's the same weight. I mean, middleweight is pretty much across the board except for the last 2. The ambulance, which has got some pretty crazy perks going on there. But again, you do making ambulances and then like nicknaming them the Slambulance or the Rambulance. Like it's all about taking this emergency vehicle and crashing it into other cars and things. I think that's really cool.
It has a hefty price tag of 25 points.
Yeah.
So, but it's 12 hull points.
Yeah.
You got that 2 handling.
Yeah.
you gotta be careful.
Max gear 5 though, so again, it's going fast for those 12 hull points, which Really, I think that makes it stand out compared to the other sort of heavier vehicles. Like, comparing it to a pickup truck, again, 12 hull points, but max gear of 4.
And I'm liking the 3 crew.
Yes.
And I could just picture, I want to get like a bunch of nurses, just, a bunch of sexy nurses, hanging out the windows and everything. That's going to be really fun to like model the ambulance.
Oh, I'm telling you, this is something that I don't know if you've seen it on the GasLands Facebook page, but I'll send it to you. There was a guy, he did these bikers. If I can just find his name for a second.
Was that the one with the nuns?
The nuns on the scooter.
Yeah, that was great.
I'm such an idiot. I didn't save the name of the guy. That's normally how I do it. I screenshot it and I catch the name of the person who posts it so I can always find it.
I might be able to save you, bro, because I actually, when I do my shout out videos, I think I might have captured that. So let me see.
Oh, there you go. But I'm saying those models, those are perfect for that kind of role because they're so detailed from what I can see. Like the amount of little fiddly bits going on there, like the little crucifixes.
And it's N. Thomason.
N. Thomason.
N. Thomason. Yeah, M. Thomason.
Okay.
Yep. N-E-N Thomason. So that's looking great. So, our boy N over here, throw some nuns on the scooter. First of all, where did he get that scooter from? That scooter's fantastic.
I know. Oh, the GasLands community never fails to amaze me with the stuff they can come up with. Like, just the level of creativity and like bits from kits
Thompson.
And manufacturers I've never even seen. Like it's maybe fantastic.
Ian. Maybe his name is Ian, and for Facebook he did a clever just E-N for Ian.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Or maybe that's how you spell Ian. I'm not even sure how you spell Ian.
Well, Ian is normally I-A-N.
Oh, it's I-A-N, right? I figured that. So
you not have Ians in New York? Do they not exist? There's got to be like one, right?
I've really never met one. I've never met one in real life.
I work with like 4 Ians.
Do you really? I've never met one, dude.
It's one of those things. I don't know. That's life across the pond, isn't it?
Like Felipe's. I've worked with a guy named Lance. I've never worked with an Ian.
I've never worked with a Lance. I've worked with, this was a great one. A guy called Christy. I was like, well, that's an interesting name, but he's European, so it's one of those things. My favorite, there's a guy at work called Andre. He's insane. He can do like the work of men. He's so fast. But his last name is Bobinski. And I'm like, what a great last name.
That is an awesome last name.
Oh man. But yeah, ambulances, uppers and downers. So what do we have here? Well. So they can, when choosing to evade another vehicle if they collide, both vehicles must stick shift up after the collision is resolved, gaining a hazard as usual. But if either vehicle is already at its max gear, the stick shift does not affect the vehicle's current gear, but that vehicle does gain a hazard token. So you've got the ability, if, say, one of your cars and an ambulance, if they crash into each other and they don't want to actually hurt each other, they just want to evade, you can use that to just bump them up an extra gear, just out of nowhere, out of that accident.
You get up an extra gear. Yeah, me too.
If you're setting up for a race in your first line, you have like a performance car. Behind that, have an ambulance. So first turn, activate the ambulance, straight into the back of the performance car, bump it up a gear.
Or sometimes, you just have those rolls where you roll out and you get like no shifts and you're taking hazards and you really don't have the room to move up a gear. So this kind of fixes that for you if you need it, which is pretty cool.
But with its other ability, downers, so if uppers give you the ability to just like ramp up your cars an extra gear, I mean, you wouldn't want to do that to your opponent's vehicle. Downers, on the other hand, that's something you do want to do to your opponent's opponent's vehicle.
Well, yeah, because you
You wanna-
smash into it and you remove 2 of their hazard tokens. But
Yeah.
you also reduce their vehicle's crew by 1
Yes.
until the end. So if they already have 1 crew member, now this vehicle is just drifting on its own.
Yeah. If it's like, for example, a performance car, which is a 1 crew vehicle, which is incredibly popular with Miyazaki, if you crash into that and reduce them to 0, we've got rules for 0 crew vehicles. They exist in Time Extended 2.
And
so
they're not good.
They're going to be having a bad time. Oh no, they're terrible. Like that. That's going to lead to some very interesting situations, and I like that. I like it when you've got, things that can really impact the gameplay.
Or how about this? Or you mix it up. You have a vehicle that maybe is about to flip and has the hull points to maybe survive a smash attack, and you could take away some of their hazards.
So you deliberately hit your own vehicle just so your nurses can jump aboard and just like shoot a load of adrenaline into a guy
there you
and
go.
keep him going
And keep
the
him
race.
going for another round or 2.
Wow,
because sometimes, it's a very thing. It's like sometimes you have the whole point and you're like, man, I wish I had some more hazards because I really don't want to flip right now. Because flipping, you lose all your gears, you're facing a weird way, and you it just totally ruins what that vehicle is up to. But if you could maybe, get smashed by the ambulance, remove some of those hazards and put you back into like, the free zone, maybe that'll work out. I don't see that being a case too often, but hey, you never know. At least it's one of the options.
Yeah. And interestingly enough, so when you do a smash attack, I mean, normally vehicles get hazards anyway, but if you did that as like a head-on collision with something that's got like a ram, which doesn't give vehicle hazard tokens in a head-to-head collision anyway, surely that would just be net gain. You'd just be removing hazard tokens. Like there wouldn't be any. There wouldn't like So say an ambulance did a side swipe on a vehicle. So normally once you do the collision, you get 2 hazards apiece. Wouldn't this just remove the 2 hazards that you're giving them? But then if you're doing this against a vehicle that's got a ram or something else, take them off the car. I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna have to think about that.
There is some stuff you could definitely play around with for sure.
Oh yeah.
And then I have to introduce my favorite vehicle out of this whole entire thing.
Yeah.
The motorhome.
Oh,
the motorhome is by far, I have a vehicle coming to me for this project. It is the motorhome from The Walking Dead.
Oh, is it? So it's not a Winnebago. It's a
green light. It's a Winnebago. It's the green light.
It is
Winnebago.
Oh, there you go.
I think it is a Winnebago. So I have that thing coming to me,
yeah.
And I can't wait to dig into it and get it ready for GasLands. So this thing has 10 hull points, 3 handling, 4 max gear, 3 build slots, 3 crew, mobile garage.
Oh yeah. This thing, it doesn't need to be in base contact with anything. It's as long as it's medium range of 1 or more wrecks, you can start flipping vehicles over and getting them back into the race.
Amazing.
Yep.
I kind of feel like that's what the ambulance should have done a little bit, in my opinion, but I'm digging it that it's on the motorhome also.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, when you look at this and when you look at, okay, so it only recovers what, like D6 hull points and 1 crew. Smaller vehicles, sure, like a that goes without saying. But if you consider everyone's favorite performance car, which only has 8 hull points anyway and 1 crew anyway, all of a sudden take something that maybe your opponent's been desperately trying to take out your lead. It's your lead racer. This is the car that's going to win you the race. But at the last minute, they took him out with like BFG. Oh my God, how are we gonna pull this off? My motorhome's too slow to win the race by itself. But what I can do is I can use Mobile Garage. I can flip my performance car back over. Hey, if you get lucky on that dice roll, 6 hull points back. You know, that's going to be a pain in the ass to take out for a second time. It could win you a race. I think that's a great ability to have on a vehicle.
Or if you just got a vehicle that you sunk a lot of points into with a really good weapon or two, and you want it back in, this is good for that.
Yeah, or you loaded up a vehicle with perks and weapons, and naturally your opponent's like, oh, that needs to die first. I can't leave that to ruin my team. So
Or
they
you
just
could
unload everything into it. You can bring it back.
Or you could do what I like to do and play the political game. See, I like to play politics in games too. Like that's why Commander and Magic is so fun for me, because the political side. So you could be like, yo, I'll flip your car back over, but you got to go after this person with it.
Oh,
Or I'll flip this car back over, but you can't damage me with that car. So now you flip the car back over, and there's another weapon going after your other enemies and not going after you.
Well, this is the thing. If you use your motorhome to flip one of your opponent's cars, it's crew from your vehicle. Don't you get to control it? You know, if I take out my opponent's performance car, like, isn't it now my performance car? Isn't that how that works? I don't know.
What?
I mean,
this is even better. Forget the political game. I'm just gonna outright jack your vehicle. I like that.
that's the thing. Like, the more you look at it, you more think, well, hang on a second, because it's not just like a maximum of one crew that you reduce from your vehicle. You can remove as many as you like. I don't know if you want to empty out all 3 crew members of the motorhome into a vehicle, unless it's an upgrade. If it's like the motorhome's got 1 hull point left, it's like, okay, bail out. We're going to go into that car. But
man,
yeah,
the more
sure.
I talk about this motorhome, just the more I'm loving it. Like I picture even just like a bunch of just like redneck hillbillies in this motorhome run around and they just jump out of that one. It's about to wreck and they climb into another car. It's just fantastic. I love it.
It's like, you know, the Miyazaki Lamborghini got destroyed early on in the race, and they're going, well, you know, our pickup truck that's a rusting piece of crap, you know, it's got 1 hull point left. Well, we don't need this anymore. Let's go get that. They turn the thing over, and all of a sudden 6 hull points, and it's, you know, I can just see it working
really
perfectly
good.
now.
So you could basically flip over 2 cars safely, because you know you could give up 2 of your crew members, and you could flip it over. You can flip over 2 cars. But you might, you know, you got to keep in mind, if you're putting weapons on your motorhome, now that's, you know, less crew to operate those weapons.
Yeah. And that's the thing, I guess. I don't know if I'd use the motorhome as a weapon platform. I mean, it's got, you know, 3 build slots, so a very respectable amount. You could put a whole bunch of like machine guns and miniguns and stuff on there, but I think I'd almost have it bare bones. Just buy it for 25 point and use it to steal things. Steal my opponent's cars or fix mine, or yeah.
And you could put other things like rams or whatever. Like you don't need to put crude powered weapons, I guess.
Oh, that'd be a sight. What if? So I did a battle report recently. It'll be coming out soon. By the time this video goes live, there might be a link, maybe, possibly. And in the battle, we were playing with trucks that had front-mounted rams and a front-mounted harpoon gun. So the idea is you fire it, you latch onto another car, and then as they're being dragged towards you, they get impacted with the ram. So you deal, hopefully, enough damage to just wipe out and destroy their car and wreck it. What if you use the motorhome with a harpoon and a ram to just go around, drag cars to it, destroy them, and take them over? Oh,
that's great.
It's like recycling. I love it.
I'm excited for the motorhome, man.
I know someone on the GasLands Facebook already did this, but get like one of those great big combine harvesters. I know you'd have to give it like a special weapon or like a grinder or something like that, but just get like that great big like wheat cutting, spinning death thing, and just harpoons and just drag cars and bikes and things into it. Oh. but then use the motorhome perk and turn them into your cars and your bikes.
Exactly, it's great. I'm loving it. And if you're using weapons like that, now you're right next to it, so you're close enough to flip them over and use them.
Yeah,
It's good.
and
It's good.
and the more you look at this isn't a one and done thing. I mean, from the base game, you've got the extra crew member perk, so you can have for 4 points plus one crew member up to a maximum of twice the vehicle's starting value. So I guess if you really wanted to sink the points in, you could get an extra 3 people for 12 points, but I don't know if it's worth 12 points. But if you think you only need one crewman on a vehicle to control it, well, a motorhome by itself could take up to a maximum of 3 vehicles, because one of them would be the motorhome being abandoned.
I'm loving that idea. Actually, I'm loving it because if you take the extra crew members, so what you do is you basically just hit the field with your motorhome, just jam-packed with crew members, and you build your army on the track as you go.
And that's the thing. Every time you take a vehicle out, you just alongside it, chuck a guy out with a wrench. He fixes it, jumps in it, and carries on driving, and now it's yours.
Exactly.
And it's got
Why
decent
bring vehicles when you
points.
have perfectly good vehicles on the track for you to use already?
Yeah. I mean, okay, one downside could be because wrecks get removed the first time there's a collision with them. So, the vehicle turns over, it explodes after it's been wrecked. But if another car comes along and smashes into it, after that, it's gone. The last bits of that car have vanished. So there's a potential for the plan to go horribly wrong. But no, I really like that. I think that'd be quite an interesting game to play. How many new cars could I finish this race with?
That's exactly what I'm thinking. Motorhome, definitely a good add to this expansion. I'm loving it. I'm loving the fact that it just gives you. It's just everything we just said in the past 5 minutes. I want to go out and do tomorrow. Like I want to get some guys together and get a motorhome on the field and just show up with just a motorhome. And just everyone's like, "That's all you got?" I'm like, "Don't worry, give me a couple of rounds. I'll have some more vehicles."
Yeah, I've sunk like 50 points into this. It's got the extra armor. Don't worry, it's going to be fine. I'm not planning on winning the race, but you guys aren't going to win the race. Oh,
hey, you
absolutely.
might be able to pick up a bike and just ride it to victory.
Like, just imagine the look on people's faces when it's like, yeah, I've got my monster truck. It's so badass. My monster truck's got like 12 hull points because I put extra armor on it, and it's got like this sick rocket launcher on it, and all these perks. And it's like, yeah, it'd be a shame if something happened to that, wouldn't it? And if someone else was to have control of that monster truck all of a sudden.
Think about it. You could actually. Seriously, it's turning out to be a better and better tactic because point-wise, you could actually, like for a 12-point crew member, you could wind up getting yourself like a 30-point vehicle.
Yeah.
Just what if that monster truck did wipe out and you go and you flip that thing over and you just jumped in this 50-point vehicle for 12 points?
Yeah. And I guess as time goes on, it's something that might be errated. Like, people might say, well, what's going on? I come here to play the game and all my cars get stolen. They all get looted by my opponent who's just brought this battle tank of a mobile home that just steals everything that's not nailed down. But
a rule should be, and just, even a house rule too, then, like, you should never be able to, like, flip over the last person's car. If you're playing with respawn rules, you shouldn't be able to steal their last car.
No. Likewise, I'm almost hesitant to say this because so far the perks have never needed this, but almost like an ammo system for perks, like how many times a perk can be used in a single race, because perks are kind of they're constant. There's not really a need to have it be, we can only use this 1 times, we can only do this twice a match, or like.
Well, it is kind of limited to how many crew members you have. I mean,
which is true. Although,
Now,
Time
see, here's the
Extended
thing.
2...
It says a crew of 3, right?
Yeah.
But how many people could actually go into the mobile home?
With extra crew, you can have up to twice the vehicle starting crew value, so a maximum of 6.
So you could have a maximum of 6. So you could do this 6 times.
Yes. And the thought occurred to me, with Time Extended 2 and Steena's stockpile, if you take her as your sponsor, isn't there a perk where you can press gang crew from other vehicles into your vehicle? Like,
Yeah,
I'm
there was
sure...
something about that where you could like kidnap them or pick them up and turn them into one of your guys. Yeah.
Could you start a race with one vehicle and then finish the race with the entire, like, everyone is under your control, like just some sort of mafia boss that's just put the screws on the competition and now you just own everything? Oh man. Oh,
That would be funny.
that would be ridiculous. So this needs to be done. People, go out there, start playing with your toy cars, because this is what it comes down to. I love talking about GasLands, and I love making my cars, but it's like Magic the Gathering. The most important thing at the end of the day is playing the game. Like, you can spend all day buying cards and looking at what cards do and thinking about combos, but it's actually sitting down and playing the game with another person where it shines. And GasLands, I feel, is the same. Like, I love making cars and I love painting them, and I love looking at the rules. But I also love playing the game.
Scarlet Annie, I pulled up the list.
Yeah.
We also forgot the point. If you actually deem this to a Scarlet Annie list, crew members are worth half points. Extra crew members are half the cost.
So they cost 2.
Exactly.
So for 6 points, you could theoretically steal 6 of your opponent's cards. Most people play with like 3. Oh man. Oh, this needs to happen.
Here we go. This is okay. Then you got the thing when another vehicle in contact with this vehicle is wrecked, the vehicle gains either 1 crew or 2 audience votes. So if you're ramming into people, if you're killing with smash attacks and harpoons and stuff, you're gaining crew members as you wreck them.
So you wreck a vehicle, get a crew member, spend a crew member to flip the vehicle, and now it's yours.
Exactly. No net loss. Only gain.
Oh my goodness. Oh, yep. That's a spicy combo right there. That will be a new thing we do on this chat on your channel. Spicy GasLands combos.
Spicy combos. That's a spicy meatball.
That's a spicy meatball. The motorhome rampage. Recycle the wasteland. It's
modeling a Scarlet Annie motorhome would be pretty cool.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Well, we got to move on to the heavy truck, which is, the truck that's been a while. It's been on the Facebook for a while. People knew this was coming.
This was leaked to us when the petition was first announced for Time Extended 3, to kind of give you a sense of what you're kind of building when you're looking at a Truckasaurus, because it was really open, it was whatever you think a Truckasaurus looks like. So I like the fact that this could be used almost for like the smaller baby Truckasauruses that roam around the wasteland, as well as the giant indestructible one.
Right, yeah, if you want to fit the theme, you could do a heavy truck. So if you have like kind of like just a monstrosity that you want to build, this is the car to do it on, because it's a heavyweight car, got 14 hull points, and it has 5 build slots.
Yeah.
But, it does have a max gear at 3, though.
People have said it's almost like a war rig with the trailer taken off. Now, the main difference I find is the war rig, I believe, it's got 20 hull points rather than 14. Strangely enough, you'd have thought the handling might go up without having to carry the trailer, but no, that's the same. The max gear for some reason goes down from 4 to 3, so I think it falls apart a little bit there, but it's got the 5 build slots and it's got plenty of crew for, and it's cheaper at the end of the day, but it doesn't have the wonderful, gorgeous War Rig special rules. It doesn't have any
I
of
would
that.
have been very happy if this at least had the pile driver attack.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Like, it's nice to not have to worry about how your trailer is positioned when you're doing a turn or anything like that. But likewise, what you get for your 25 points, the motorhome, really tempting for that price cost. But
Right, because the motorhome is, you're missing a few whole points, but you're gaining like all that stuff we just said for the past 20 minutes.
yeah. I mean, okay, like you can put murder track as an aggression point, aggression perk on there. It's 5, and so it goes up to 30, and that gives you pile driver attacks. But then you're only 10 points away from it being a war rig, and you think, well,
Exactly.
may as well just roll with a war rig.
And
It's
I'm
some
thinking
points
like
more, and you
heavy
get
truck.
more.
I kind of want to put a harpoon on a heavyweight truck.
Oh yeah, literally drag things towards you.
Exactly. Pull them in. You're coming in, boys. Let's go.
Yeah. When I was playtesting, I say playtest. When I last played a game with trucks with harpoons on them, if the two vehicles are the same weight class, like middleweight or lightweight, rather than one being heavier than the other, do the two vehicles just get drawn towards each other? Like, or is it your choice? Can you go closer to them or pull them back to you? Or I don't know, because with the harpoon, you've got the rules for if you're a heavier class shooting at a lighter class, you drag it to you, and then vice versa. If you're lighter shooting a heavy, you get dragged to it. But there's no when you're the exact same, weight of both middle or both light or both heavy.
Well, let's see. So, if the target is a heavier class than the attacker, it is the attacking vehicle that is spun and moved towards the target vehicle.
Yep.
So yeah, what if you're not heavier and you're the same weight class? Does just nothing happen?
Well, I imagine cars would still move. It's just, do they both move towards each other? Like, I don't know. Or like I say, maybe it's your choice. You could pull them back, or you could pull yourself forwards. I don't know. But you think about how many cars come under middleweight or come under heavyweight now, and you go, well, it's come up eventually. So two war rigs are going to shoot each other with harpoons, and then it's a tug of war. What's going to happen?
I'm thinking it just doesn't do anything.
But that'd be boring.
It's boring, but you're gonna have to come up with your own house rules if you wanted to do something. Because currently in the harpoon book, in the book, it doesn't say that. It just says what happens if it's heavier.
Yeah, but you got to have the rule of carnage and the excitement and the smashing of things. It can't just be, oh well, due to technicalities, there's a default and nothing happens. It's like, no, this is the wasteland. There should be excitement and things being dragged into the abyss. Like you got to have that effect.
It should. What I'm gonna add, if I were to add something, I would just add a dice roll. And whoever rolls higher gets more traction, and they pull the other person towards them. That's how I would do it. That's how I would solve it.
Or even have it based on what current speed you're in. Like the slower vehicle slows down the other vehicle and pulls them back. Or vice versa. If you're a higher speed vehicle, maybe because of the momentum you've got going, you drag the opponent towards you. Or I don't know. It's so here we are talking about Time Extended 2 in today's episode. but I guess it's something that needs addressing. Or
Well, no, when you get a heavy truck, and you got this heavyweight vehicle. It's like that is the first thing you think about. You think about Harpoon, especially when we got a bunch of middleweight and heavyweight vehicles. Like the Harpoon in this expansion, you think about it because we just got a ton of middle and heavyweight vehicles.
Yep. And it's one of those things. It's going to happen. It's going to come up. So it's just dealing with that. But no, I still like the heavy truck. Still a good base. I don't know if it's worth 25 points. I mean, for me,
but like you said, it falls in that category where if I'm trying to squeeze points, I probably won't take it. But if I really want to model it and do something for flavor and fluff, I'm definitely going to do something with it. Like, I will definitely build a heavy truck build. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. And it's slowly bridging that gap up to the super ridiculous heavyweight vehicles that we all want. So I can finally put my cat mining truck on the table, or that guy that built that ship on wheels. He can put that on the table and use that. It's at some point they've got to do that. They've got to have a new class, a new weight class for vehicles, because they are getting bigger and bigger, and not a bad thing. At some point someone's going to do well, actually no, we have seen this now in the Facebook group, a plane on wheels. That's been done now.
Exactly.
The guy did a fighter jet. I think it was yesterday morning or something. Fighter jet on monster truck wheels. So
you could just put the weight class as mega.
Ultra. Extra thick.
Last but not least, we got the APC vehicle.
Yep.
Which is
weighing in 35 points but 16 hull. It's a beast.
That thing, yeah. 16 points, man. Woo! That's a lot of hull points.
Oh, yeah. And 6 crew, so you can really go to town with weapons on it if you had more than one build slot. But
because it's an armored personnel carrier. The main purpose of these things is to have the 6 crew.
Yeah.
Although this falls into the Scarlet Annie faction again, because you got 6 crew people, ramming into people and then taking vehicles. With your crew is great.
And if you look at Battle Taxi as one of its ability, any weapon with a crew-fired special rule gains the Blitz special rule when purchased for this vehicle. Well, Time Extended 2 added a whole bunch of crew-fired weapons. We've gone past just having a pistol to shoot out of a window now. We've got shotguns and rifles and nets and gas grenades and all sorts. So the fact that normally you can only have that one weapon per crew on a vehicle, so you can have one rifle or one shotgun or so on. The fact that you can have all 6 of the crew member fire that weapon, because that's what the Blitz does. You get to add extra dice for each crew member firing that weapon.
Yep.
You could, if you equipped that with steel nets, you could just cover a car in these entangling nets and just knock it out of the race with hazard.
Everybody throws all your Molotov cocktails at once.
Oh yeah, the classic battle bus of Molotov cocktails. But
I like
I don't know.
I like it. I like the APC. It's kind of like your battle bus with, a little something extra.
Yeah. Oh man, that's a combination I hadn't even thought of until now. So battle bus, everyone's favorite battle bus, a crew value of 8 and potential max crew of 16. So if you pay 16 points if it's a battle bus under Stina, yeah, that's a lot of Molotov cocktails being thrown at any one time. Oh, when you start combining things. Oh, the chaos.
Buses for the pirate faction are just gross. Like you just, you could pack in 16 people, no problem. Even if you just keep them all with pistols, that's a nightmare.
Absolutely. Like, it doesn't even need to be a particularly good weapon. Just the mass of all those
Just ride up
crew
along
members
somebody
firing
like,
at once.
by the way, I'm rolling 16 dice.
Don't worry, they only do one damage each, but 60.
Right, I'm going to roll a bunch of sixes in there.
It's the equivalent of like four miniguns all going off at once. Like, that's a lot of firepower. Oh man. So yeah, so these are the new vehicles from Time Extended 3, and I love them. I mean, like we've said, there's so many new combinations, there's so many new things that have been added to the game now that it just keeps growing, and I love that. I love that about GasLands.
Exactly. Between all these new cars, all the new weapons from the last expansion, like, you just have an infinite amount of just little combos you could come up with. Like, sometimes you could just sit there with a paper and a pen and just come up with car combos. Like, if you have nothing to do and you don't got nothing to paint, or you just, kind of bored, just sit down and just try and come up with all different combos. Make up race teams.
Yep. And that's what it's all about. Like, sometimes, you make a cool vehicle and you go, but I don't know what this would count as in the game. And then sometimes you sit down with pen and paper and you come up with a great concept for a vehicle. Then you go, well, I have no idea what model I would for that. But then, you can come up with something like the motorhome from hell that recycles the battlefield, or a battle bus with 16 crew members on it, like some sort of mad double-decker bus. Before you know it, these things make themselves, and the scenarios make themselves. But oh man, this is what the game's all about. It's the content, and it's the expansion, and it's the creativity that can come from it.
But it didn't end there. I mean,
No.
They got the vehicles. They also gave us a really cool sponsor. Yeah.
And I just looking, so viewers at home, if you turn to page 3 now, just looking at the Truckasaurus at the top of the page by by Peran, that really looks like, I know in America you have, I think it's called BattleBots, the TV show.
It's been a very long time since we had that, but I do remember BattleBots, and this looks like a BattleBot for sure.
Here in the UK, it's called Robot Wars, and I think it's still going. They may have cancelled it now, but there was a robot on there. It was one of the robots, which were like the big badass ones that you'd have to fight at some point, called Matilda, and it looks exactly like Matilda. It's that sort of triceratops, but with, in this case, a giant claw for a tail. But Matilda had like this big chainsaw and would just cut robots in half. And I love seeing things like that. They're really like.
I mean, I could see that car being used as the mobile home choice, because you could use the claw to flip the cars back over. All the crew members could hang out in that back section area.
Yep. And you've got those wonderful tank tracks up front, so it can hit things and just take that beating and just deal some damage.
Yeah, that's a really nice build.
Yeah. Way to go, Peran. Way to go, Peran.
Asias. I think you had it right, dude. Asias. You know what? If I'm saying it wrong, then that means you're not the only one saying it wrong. So
that's all right, then.
I'll get in your corner. Isias Pecan, is that? Or Peran?
Peran.
I'm not wearing my glasses. I'm not looking at little tiny text.
Oh, look at this old man with his glasses. Says
the
young man who always wears glasses.
Who has glasses always.
can't take his glasses off without going blind. It's like, oh. But, all right, man. Do you want to take us through the Highway Patrol?
Yeah, so Highway Patrol. Now, I'm always on the Facebook, and that's why I love giving the shout-out videos. And one of the things I noticed when doing my shout-out videos, there's never a shortage of people coming up with different Highway Patrol cars, sheriff vehicles, cop cars, all that jazz, because people love it. I think it's a cool concept, and there's definitely going to be no shortage of those type of vehicles out in the wastelands.
Yeah.
So you finally got the Highway Patrol, which which kind of also really does play into that Mad Max, because, you know, in the first Mad Max, they were like that special highway patrol unit, weren't they?
Well, they were. It was the main force patrol. It was the original kind of law bringers to the lawless in the Australian outback before the bombs drop and the world finally goes to heck.
So that's what I kind of feel like what this highway patrol is like. If you ever want to do like all those characters from the first Mad Max movie, you could do them now, give them highway patrol, and they get some actually cool perks to go along with their cars, you know?
Oh yeah, you look at the perks that you get from being sponsored by the Highway Patrol, and all of a sudden this becomes me versus you. This becomes my car trying to hunt down and take your car down. It's no longer like our two gangs fighting each other wildly. This is individual officers of the law trying to take out specific criminals, and I love it. I love how thematic these abilities are.
Yeah, so you get Hot Pursuit, which in the beginning of the game you could nominate one enemy vehicle as the bogey, and when you get the bogey, you get a bunch of perks that go against that bogey. So if there's ever a bogey in your 12 o'clock in front of you, and I think it's further than twice your range away, you could make a free movement step because you're trying to chase that guy down. Which is nice, because if you get the elite vehicle and you give him that like perk or negative perk, bogey, you in essence give your other cars extra movement phases. If they decide they want to rocket off or use a nitro boost or something, you know, now your whole team, while chasing them, gets that free move.
Yeah, and it's nice because it's not so overly powered that, you know, you're constantly able to move your guys forward to chase them down.
They got to be double range away, which is pretty far.
It's got to be double range away, and it's going to be in your front arc. It doesn't matter if you're like, you can see them running away as you're like looking at your rear view mirror or out the side windows. It'll be in your front arc because you're trying to chase them down. And likewise, it's only one. It's not the entire team becomes bogeys. It's that main like head vehicle that you're trying to hunt down.
Exactly. And then you got the job is never done, which is basically the rule we just said. Only once that car is wrecked or whatever, you just pick a new target.
Yeah.
So you're always looking for somebody.
Yeah, it removes the stress of, okay, all these perks only apply to one vehicle, so I've got to make the choice really stick at the beginning of the game, because a few turns in, maybe you've killed the bogey, and then that's it. Well, what do you do now? You know, maybe the backup car that you weren't thinking about, maybe that's going to win the race. It's like, no, once you take your main target down, you can new one, and then that becomes the main focus
One thing that
of your
I've
group.
always noticed about the scum that break the law is they always got friends who are looking to break the law with them.
Absolutely. And behind every good criminal leader is someone waiting to stab them in the back and take their place.
Exactly. So there's the job's never done. It's a great title.
No, you know, in the wasteland, the moment you take out the lead, the leader of the pack, the alpha wolf, there's going to be another one that you're going to have to deal with. So yeah, it's fantastic.
And I'm loving the rule siren. So your cars have siren, which of course, man, you got these cop cars, they have the lights on top of them, they're going to have sirens. So at the end of this vehicle's activation, if this vehicle is in the bogey's rear arc, and the bogey must either reduce its gear by 1 or gain 2 hazards.
Yeah, it's your classic pull over. This is the law, you know.
Exactly.
And it's that so far in my life, you know, being a young spit of a man, I've yet to have a member of the police force ever pull me over and be like, "Excuse me, sir, can I look at your, license and registration?" And hopefully that never happens. You know, touch wood, that never happens. But for people out there who ever have been driving and you see the flashing lights in your rear view mirror and they are telling you to pull over, I imagine that puts the wind up you a little bit. Just a little bit. Like, on a fundamental level, you're in the shit when that happens.
Exactly. And if you're going to continue to run, you're going to get hazards because now you're in a police chase.
Yeah.
So you're driving recklessly, you're trying to escape. It's awesome. And then you got Steel Justice. I love this. I just love the title. You got Steel Justice, which is if that bogey wipes out, you get two audience votes. But if it's wrecked, you get 4 audience votes. So that's their perk, how to get audience votes, and I like it. It makes sense.
Yeah. And the nice balance about this is because you're only doing it one vehicle at a time, it's not their entire force, it's just the main target that you're applying this all to. And likewise, once that target's destroyed, you put that on another one. So
there's the big unless you have louder sirens.
Yeah.
So each car could pay an extra 2 cans, and they could replace bogey with whatever enemy vehicle is on the table. So if you have one car with it, they could pick any vehicle, and the rest of your team still has to go after the one target. But if you put louder sirens on all your cars, now it's free game for everybody. You're just trying to run everybody down.
Oh, can you imagine how painful that would be? Say you're doing a race scenario and I don't know, maybe there's 3 of you playing, so you all put a car down in the first 3 or 4 first row, and then you've got more cars in the back. So first turn, player 1 shoots off, player 2 shoots off, your turn rolls around, you move some cars, great, and then you activate your sirens, and then all of a sudden everyone's faced with the question, do I lower my gear or do I take 2 hazards? Because in a race on the first turn, chances are a lot of cars are going to be in front of your police cars, and a lot of cars are going to be faced with, I didn't think I'd get hazards this early. Combine that with any weapon that's got, fire damage, and all of a sudden they're not going to be put out anytime soon. They're going to stay burning for quite a while. So I think that gels really nicely with other abilities, other perks, as well as things you can do on the table, like where you position your vehicles. Because normally when you do a race, you just go, I'll put this one here and this one here, and just make a line and then make a follow-up line with whatever's left. But this brings an element of tactics to it, where all of a sudden you can really slow vehicles down, or you can force them to take hazards. There's no choice. Go down a gear and pull over, or take the hazards.
Then on top of all that madness, then you got to remember these things get perks from the other perks, the chart, and they could pick from speed, and they have a new class called Pursuit.
Yeah, which is unique for this sponsor, which is really nice.
You got a bunch of perks for them. So you have On Your Tail, which is 2 cans, and when an enemy vehicle resolves a spin or slide move that ends within short range of this vehicle, the vehicle gains another hazard token. Yeah. Because, hey buddy, you can't be driving recklessly when there's a cop around.
It's like Schadenfreude as a perk. I absolutely love this, because for viewers at home who are not familiar with Schadenfreude, it's the German concept of comedy where it's kind of, you enjoy watching something bad happening to someone else, but not in like a sadistic way. It's more the comfort that knowing that it's not happening to you. So in a death race style scenario, when you see like one of your opposition wipe out, you're like, fantastic. That's someone else I don't need to worry about. And I love it, because if they, if another vehicle within short range of this vehicle resolves a wipeout, either before or after any flip, remove all hazard tokens from this vehicle. Like, your driver's actively like going, thank you, it's not me.
Exactly. Like, it's his day just got a hell of a lot sunnier.
Yeah, they become relaxed, and they light up a cigarette. It all becomes a little bit easier because they just saw something terrible happen to someone else that's not them.
Now, this is kind of messed up. You got taunts for 2 cans.
Yeah.
This is funny because what you do is you roll a shift die. And if you roll something other than a shift, so some sort of negative result, you could place that onto the dashboard of another vehicle within short range.
Oh, yeah. See where this is going.
And they must, use that die on their next turn.
Yeah, that can really mess someone up. Like,
and
if
it
they're
can't
in
be re-rolled, so they can't even use the shift to like re-roll it or nothing. It's just there. They have to resolve it.
Yeah. I wonder if you can still, like, as usual, use a shift to counter it out. So say you give them a slide or a spin result. Like, if they can still, like, if they roll a load of shifts, if they can counter it. They can't re-roll it, but I wonder if still, like, stop the. But if it's not that way, and it's purely, oh, I'm going to make you slide this turn, that can really mess some people up. Like,
yeah, for sure.
People tend to drive really close to rocks and things. I myself am a firm believer in driving really close to rocks and buildings and other cars that you really shouldn't in the game, because it could go so badly with a poor roll. But
and even if you give them a spin, man, that's another hazard they have to take on.
Yeah.
Taunt
but then
I'm definitely going to have a car with taunt on it.
Oh, absolutely. Like, I think this is the thing with getting perks. The moment you see them, you're like, I want all of the abilities in the world. But if you were to have one car with all of these on, you're looking at what, like 17 cans of gas? It's like another vehicle in itself. But outrun 2 cans of gas at the start of this vehicle's attack step. All vehicles within short range of this vehicle and in a current lower gear than this vehicle gain +1 hazard total. Can't escape it. That's the thing. However, this would affect yours if they're at a lower gear. So it's one of those things. If you say you had a turn of combat where there was lots of cars smashing into each other, lots of people wiped out, and all of a sudden everyone's like gears 1 and 2, like really low down, then yeah, all of a sudden you can just share the love and give hazards to everyone. But it can affect your cars as well. So it's
exactly. You just got to weigh out the cost, the balance. And then you have pit,
which is the infamous police technique of stopping cars.
Dude, 4 cans. This better be good. If this vehicle is involved in a collision with an enemy vehicle during its activation that is not head-on, it may declare the pursuit intervention technique, aka pit, against an enemy vehicle which, instead of declaring a smash attack or an evade, if this vehicle declares a pit attack, it may select any maneuver template the target vehicle considers hazardous and its current gear. The target vehicle must immediately resolve a movement step during in which it is forced to use the maneuver template that was selected for him and roll any skid dice. And may not roll any skid dice.
You can force your opponent with this attack to drive off the map and be disqualified from a race.
Or just to do like a hairpin turn and turn them just facing the other way. That's brutal.
You can drive them into their friends and cause them to crash. You can cause them to crash into a rock. You can do so much damage with this weapon. I absolutely... No, sorry, not a weapon, perk. So this can go on anything.
Whatever it is, you are taking that car out of the race for a minimum of like 3 turns. 3 gears. Because it's going to take them... Even if you just gave them a hairpin and you turn them backwards, they have to either do another hairpin to turn the right way around, or back up, and it's just a nightmare. They're going to be out for like 3 years.
And I mean, don't get me wrong, not all templates are hazardous. So your straight templates, they're all fine, but all the turns, all of the swerves and veers, they're all hazardous. So you really can take your enemy car and be like, oh, that rock you were trying to dodge? No, you're going into that.
Yeah, you're gonna hit that, buddy. I'm sorry. Sorry to break it to you.
But finally, we get to unnerving eye contact. So when you're staring your opponent down the barrel of a gun, enemy vehicles within short range of this vehicle may not use shift results to remove hazard tokens from their dashboard. That is painful.
It's also 5 cans.
It's 5 cans. It's 5 cans. And people tend to overestimate how long short is. Short on a tabletop is pretty small. It's not very long. Medium's very beefy. If you compare medium, distance between 2 cars, medium is very big. But short range,
Yeah,
no,
short's you gotta be close.
Rammed someone and they're trying to move away in their turn so they're not going to go very far. Chances are, and they like want to, they're not going to be able to. But because even if you like drove up alongside someone and shot them in your turn, like you didn't bother to like smash into them, I think there's potential there. It's just finding that specific circumstance.
Exactly.
There.
I mean, I think it's just you gotta get rep in there. It's just that, oh man, 5 points is a lot of points to like spend on something that you got to be so close, and it's just not going to be. It's not going to come into play that often.
Yeah. And of course, I think just before we move on from this sponsor, we need to talk about the little Truckasaurus at the bottom of page 4 by Mariano Super, because I think, well, that's a super Truckasaurus right there.
Well, it looks like Yoshi.
Big green Yoshi. It's wonderful, isn't it?
It's great. When I first saw it, I was like, "This is fantastic. It's awesome."
Can't help but have a smile on your face when you look at it. He's got the little fire effect coming out of his mouth. It looks happy, when you see it. Something about it.
You know what? It did its job. It brought a smile to my face when I saw it.
Yep. Now, I'll say this. While scenarios, I think, are a video all in their own right, that many scenarios now for GasLands, we going through all of them from the book to all of the ones in Time Extended. Now, I think we would be cheating the audience if we don't at least look at Truckasaurus for a minute, because that's
we have to. Yeah,
that's what this is all about. Come on, this is the 3rd issue of Time Extended, named the Truckasaurus. It's gotta be done. We've got to look at this thing.
Well, okay, so we also got a scenario that goes along with the book. I mean, the scenario is what the cover is all about. It's what it's in the title. This was the big thing. This was the big contest. Everybody built amazing Truckasauruses. Everybody just put so much work into it, created so many things that it's just fantastic. So they came out with a scenario to go along with these giant monstrosities and what to do with one of these things on the track.
Well, this is the thing. Just to point out the Truckasaurus on page 5 by Jess Ness. Jess the Ness. I remember seeing his work in progress photos for that, and I believe he did put LED lights into the truck cab on the head of the beast, so its eyes would light up and its mouth would light up as it breathes out fire. Like the amount of effort that people put into their builds is staggering. It's absolutely fantastic. But yeah, it's simple enough. Truckasaurus goes in the middle. Respawn locations around the perimeter. You jump in, you start fighting. Truckasaurus itself is an absolute insane beast. Like it's all listed there, what it can do and what weapons it's got, and into everything basically. But when Truckasaurus lives, players with an active vehicle in play may spend 3 audience votes whenever they would ordinarily be able to spend them in order to activate the Truckasaurus. When it activates, the Truckasaurus counts as being in the same gear as the current gear phase. So you're in gear phase 2. This activation occurs before the active player activates. Truckasaurus may activate multiple times in a single gear phase. Truckasaurus feed. Every time a vehicle is destroyed during Truckasaurus's activation, the player who activated it gains 1 victory point. So the feeling I get is when it's your turn, you can spend audience votes to like gain control of it and try and kill an enemy vehicle. But because audience votes are only gained normally from
What I like about it too is if you smash into the Truckasaurus, you get like an audience vote.
Yeah, if you try to attack the Truckasaurus, get audience votes. Because traditionally, audience votes only come from one of your vehicles gets wrecked, or if you start a turn without any active vehicles, which...
Or if you do whatever it is you got to do for your sponsor.
Yes.
So if you're Miyazaki, you could like drive around this thing, do some fancy tricks, build up some audience votes, and then start to use it to kill everybody else.
This makes a bit more sense now, because so respawning costs 3 audience votes. If you end a turn and all of your vehicles have been destroyed, gain 2 audience votes. On the principle being that in time you'd be able to respawn your guys in. But then, it's an interesting one. I think it
looks like a fast scenario. It looks like it plays pretty quick because basically to win it, you have to get 5 victory points. If it's only a 2-player game, you need 3 victory points, and the game ends in 3 turns no matter what. So the game's never going to go over 3 turns. Whoever has the most victory points wins. So I think that's a pretty cool. It's a pretty cool, fast little game. Like if you guys just want to play a game in like 20 minutes, a half hour, you take this Truckasaurus, you slap it in the middle of a table, and you have a good time for like a half hour.
Oh yeah, and it has everything. Okay, handling 2, not so great. Crew 4, not so great. Infinite hull, can't be pushed, can't gain hazard tokens. It can pivot in any gear. It has the crush special attack. It
has a flamethrower, a turret-mounted 125mm cannon.
It's immune to the effects caused by weapons, so you can't set it on fire.
A turret-mounted harpoon.
It's infinite ammo on everything. If it has ammo, it's absolutely absurd. But if there was ever going to be a Mad Max Godzilla, I'm pretty sure Truckasaurus would be it. At the end of the day.
Yeah, it's a totally cool scenario. Like we said, we got to dig a little bit deeper into the scenarios, but we couldn't end the episode without even touching it. We had to talk about it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like, I think at the end of the day, it's something, like you say, something simple to throw down, especially if you're one of the wonderful people who did make a Truckasaurus. I'm still feel the guilt that I never put together my entry in time. But for all the viewers out there is a competition right now for Time Extended 4. They want you to make a diorama, so go do it. Go make it. Go make like 2 cars racing each other and one shooting at the other, and you do the special effect, the OBS lighting, and this is what it's all about.
Lighting and motors and running water.
get the resin effects on there to make it look like they've crashed into a lake, and you name it.
What I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna get one of those motorized holiday display things. That have like the little elves walking around, and I'm just gonna Mad Max everything.
Just replace all the elves with cars, and it's like, there you go, job done. What's the next one?
And it's motorized. It's funny.
I tell you, I've been thinking about doing like some sort of wasteland throne, use bits of cars and things like this is like the winner's podium, like this is where they go after a death race, and it's like lifted up in the air, and it could almost turn into like a bit of terrain to then put on the table, but like using car doors to like represent feathers on wings. Yeah, that'd be pretty sick.
And also at the end of the book, you know, everybody, you guys got to get your hands on these PDFs. Because there's just so much information, and there's another whole scenario, scavenger party, which does a whole bunch of cool stuff with different scavenge vehicles. That's definitely worth looking at. And at the very end, and this is why these PDFs are so important, you have a whole section of like errata and rules changes. And if you guys, you know, pay attention to our channels, we're going to be going over the errata and what we think about it.
Yeah, like at the end of the day, it's important to have erratas for the hard copy books that we have because it helps keep the rules up to date and streamlined. And the best thing about these free expansions with the time extended series is because they're digital, they can just update them whenever they need to. They can sort the spelling the typo with ice cream trucks costing 5 with a keystroke. But with the actual GasLands rulebook, the actual physical printed Osprey publication, this is so important to that, to fixing any little kinks and any little wording errors that come up. So yeah, you should check out these time extended issues just for that, just just to see if anything's changed.
Well, anyway, James, thanks for sticking around. Thanks for getting on the internet with me and talking about cars, talking about games, talking about utter mayhem, because that's what it's all about.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It would be a very boring wasteland if people didn't talk to each other and talk about toy cars and just the love of the game. It sounds silly, but that's what it is at the end of the day. But
I'm going to say this one more time. You know, you guys got to check out the Facebook. The GasLands Facebook is so fantastic. So it's one of the best Facebook groups I ever been a part of. And what I'm trying to say is also, because I know there's a lot of people out there that actually play games and they'll go on YouTube and they'll look up info and they'll see our channels and they'll watch our videos. But a lot of people don't do Facebook and they might miss this awesome group. Like if you want to know about GasLands and you want to be up to date with the most up to date stuff, jump on Facebook and join the GasLands Facebook group. It's fantastic and a fun place to hang out. I hang out there. James hangs out there. All the big guys who are talking GasLands, they all hang out there. It's a fun place to be.
And I'll say this, I've got friends who, at the end of the day, they don't like Facebook. They don't feel the need to use it, or they don't feel comfortable putting their private information on there. There's nothing stopping you from just making an account with like a random name. And or like my favorite was, I had a friend, he named himself after a porn actress, which I thought was just great. Like, because of course he's not that person, but
he's probably getting a bunch of crazy friend requests.
Oh, all sorts. But you know, at the end of the day, it's like joining any forum or piece. It helps you connect with people who are passionate about the things that you. And likewise, I recommend, you know, if you ever have the chance, go on the GasLands website, have a look at the forum there, because this day people are still going there and posting amazing builds and amazing, as well as their gameplay experiences.
It's really fantastic, and if you look at like a lot of the builds that are in the PDFs that are on the front cover, a lot of guys get on the Facebook and they show work in progress of these very builds. It's pretty cool.
And that's the thing. I mean, what else is there to say? You know, it's the love of toy cars, and toy car Christmas is almost here, and all the Hot Wheels in the world will be raining from the sky, drowning us in toy cars. It's
well, anyway, that's another thing I wanted to say. This is the Christmas video, Christmas podcast, whatever you want to call this thing. It's the Christmas episode. I want to say Merry Christmas to everybody, Happy New Year, and I hope everybody has an awesome holiday.
Yeah, I mean, this is probably like with the rate that I put out videos. This would be like recorded in December, edited in January, and then published in February. But
You know me, I'm going to have this out in like 3 days.
yeah, oh, absolutely. The speed at which you create content, it's fantastic, man. So I got to say thanks again for having me on the show. It's always good to spend time with you, man. And thank you guys for tuning in and listen to us talk Gaslands. Thank you, Wasteland, and goodbye.
We out. Fantastic.